So, we're doing a series of articles this summer, taking a deeper look at the 202. And I know you have been involved with it for a long time, but I'm not sure. It sounds like you've had a lot of different roles in in everything. So I want to talk to you about where you started with this issue. When was the first time that you heard about the freeway?
Well, the first time I heard about the freeway is obviously when I moved out here since 1986. I've lived out here since then. And so there's always been a discussion about the freeway. It really didn't start hitting home in this area. Now, in 1986, when I first moved out here, Allison, there were only 35,000 people, maybe. There was one police officer, no ambulance service. There was nothing out here. I think we only had 2 street lights when I first moved out here. So the discussion of the freeway was probably around, but it really didn't start coming and gelling together until the 1990s, the mid-1990s. So that's when the freeway really started taking hold, was back in the 1990s, in the mid-1990s.
Where were you at that point in your career? What were you doing?
I was on the city council in 1994 to 1999.
Okay.
Oh, actually, I think 2000. 2000. At the end of 1999, so that works. It's not the full 2000, end of 1999 essentially. So I was on the Phoenix City Council, so I got involved with the freeway issue at the time. I didn't think that the freeway was a good thing for Ahwatukee back then. I don't think that it is now. We live in the world's largest cul-de-sac. I like living in a cul-de-sac, and I think a majority of the people do. But this is a very divisive issue in our community. It literally has split our community in half. Half the community is strongly supportive of the freeway, the other half is strongly opposed to it. So the question I had back in 2009 was, do I take an active role? The City of Phoenix has no role. We don't decide where the freeway goes, but I can create a bully pulpit to get people to start working together. In 2009, I believed that we could bring this divisive issue together. We put people that were for the freeway in a room and people that were opposed. And what we came up with was a plan, a strategy, and a direction to get our community to start working together, 1. And 2, the final end result was, it was kind of a compromise. Well, it was a compromise, was that it was anywhere but Pecos Road. So the freeway can go anywhere but Pecos Road. So the people that support the freeway, usually in the northern part of Ahwatukee, and the ones that oppose it, further south you go, now came together and we started working together. But we started working with the state. We got the state, we got everybody's attention at the time. The tribal community then said they've never had a proposal. That sent everything in motion that literally started working in place of protecting our community, that looked at moving the freeway to the south. Or anywhere else, so it didn't matter to us as long as it was not on Pecos Road. So that started a ball that we were really happy with. I've got to give a lot of credit to ADOT, the new administration that came in, because they literally helped move that ball down the field. Then we saw the tribal community working on it. They were working together. It wasn't as contentious as it was. It's still contentious, it still is. But the contention level started to drop. The anxiety level started to drop on all sides. Then on February 5th of last year, there was a vote. It was an interesting vote. I'm not going to criticize it, but let's say it was interesting that they had 3 things to vote on. So it split the vote 3 ways. One of the things I need to bring out too is the level of contention that occurred many years. It's been fostered, and festering within the tribal community for a lot of years, and the state of Arizona pretty much accepts it as well. When the original freeway was built, the I-10, they don't know what happened with a lot of the funds. They don't know what occurred. There was a lot of promises that were made by the state of Arizona that were never fulfilled. So the tribal community has a lot of reason to be cautious and to be concerned about their future negotiations with the state, and the state will acknowledge this as well. In 2001, there was a borderland study that the state worked with the tribal community on, but the state gave them absolutely no acknowledgement. That was in 2001. I think that was the first big mistake that occurred that literally sent the ball in motion in the other direction. So you had a tribal community that was working toward and wanting to work with the state of Arizona and Ahwatukee Foothills toward, maybe it was in 2000. It was one of those. It was the Borderland study. You can get a copy of that. I'm pretty sure it's 2001. So the state never really began negotiations, never began. Everything was right there for the state to work with everyone, and it didn't happen. So that really sent the ball in a bad direction. And that combined with the fact that they felt that there were a lot of promises not kept on the I-10, which the state will acknowledge. They don't know what occurred because it happened so many years ago. Someone's got to have some historical reference somewhere, you know. But that occurred. Then you set in motion basically a situation where parties are becoming more, further and further apart rather than getting closer together. So what we wanted to do in 2009 was literally find a way to get all the parties to start coming back to the table again. And I think we accomplished that just basically through the bully pulpit. We didn't have any direction. We didn't have any power except the power of the media, the Ahwatukee News, the Republic, and others. Ahwatukee News, not the Republic, so except for the power of the Ahwatukee News, which you guys were all over at the time. And it literally got the state to start working that way. Senator McComish was there. I think Jeff Dial was in at the time, in around 2009. Those two, matter of fact, I'm pretty sure it was Dial. They did a lot to help move the ball with the state. You got to remember the state since 1986, 1987 was already set on a path. Mm-hmm. So this path, every day that goes by, let alone every year that goes by, becomes harder and harder for them to get off of it because you've got people already wedded to the idea. Mm-hmm. What we were asking, from our community, was for them to start changing that idea, start changing the way that they looked at the freeway and see if there was a better way to do that. We felt that we could save the mountain. I don't think people realize how bad that's going to be when that cut goes through the mountain, if and when it ever occurs. We could have saved a lot of the homes along Pecos Road, which people care about. We could have maintained our quality of life because as that freeway is closer to the mountain, you're going to get more reverberation off the mountain and you're going to have more noise out here. And then the other thing that we found out back in the mid-2000s, Allison, and I've heard it from the state before, by not cutting through the mountain, it also saves taxpayers about $250 million. That cut through the mountain is an additional expense of $250 million that the state could save or use in other areas. So we felt we were on a good path of trying to get everybody to work together, and I still do. I'm an eternal optimist on this. Until the very last day, I believe that there is an alternative other than Pecos Road available. So from 2000 to 2009, and I still am, I was working in the real estate field. And you've probably heard about my interest in, which is a small interest, in a piece of property off of 40th Street in Pecos. Mm-hmm. Now, the freeway was already there. It's already been planned there. I've had that interest, when I was not on the council, and I'd worked on that. And so that if the freeway's on the north, it's still there. If the freeway moves south, it's still there. It doesn't matter. Or, which I'm okay with and I'm totally fine with, and I like the idea that if the freeway never gets built, I'm totally fine with that as well. It doesn't become a benefit either way. So from my end of it, it's, that interest occurred before I got on the council.
So the state wouldn't need that land if they were to build the freeway?
No. If it's on the north, absolutely not. On the south, I don't know. If it is, it would be smaller than a half an acre if it was. And we don't get that benefit. The individuals I'm involved in would not get that. It would go directly to the tribe.
So what caused you to invest in that land?
Well, it's Ahwatukee Foothills. I know it's my community. Why wouldn't I? And I had a great working relationship with a lot of the members of the tribe before in the past. And I enjoyed working with them, and they enjoyed working with me. And so it's a long process. It took us almost 7 years to put that together. It's not something that happened overnight.
The individuals that you're involved with, did they plan to develop that land eventually?
Mm-hmm. We're looking at a hospital right now for the area. And that's a hard one just because the investments for hospitals are very tight. But that's what we're looking at right now, putting a hospital there. But we're a long ways away right now.
would a freeway,
affect that plan?
No, it wouldn't either way. I mean, whether the freeway's on the north or the south, you know, or not at all, it's not the market that they would serve. The market that they would serve would be Ahwatukee Foothills. I mean, if you think about it, people aren't going to drive 15 miles, you know, and the hospital is not going to be this mega hospital. It would be a smaller level hospital, you know, maybe 20 beds. So people that would be in this community would be the main, and Chandler would be the main individuals that would be going there.